Looks like we're recording. Hey, thanks for joining us, guys. My name's Trevor. This is Shelly, and we are going to talk about Madeira. Madeira is an island here in Portugal, and so we're going to just do a quick little presentation. It's nothing informal or nothing formal like that. And then afterwards, we'll just open it up for question and answers and stuff like that. So let's first talk about some resources. If you're on Facebook, there's some great, actually in the chat, I put in a link there and I'll throw it in there again one more time just to make sure you have it. So the chat there is what's going to allow you to access this slide deck, and there's the links that are in there as well. So what we started off with is we got these Facebook resources. These are some very popular pages. There's the Portugal travel tips. So Portugal, the whole country, there's some great tips in there. I think there's about 45,000 members in that one. There's the Madeira expat community, which is the island that we're on. There's approximately, I think, 12,500 people are on that. And then if you want to go back in time, because I'm not going to do a lot of the photos and stuff like that, but you can go in and look at my Facebook page. It's opened up and there's all sorts of different posts that I've been doing. There's pictures in there. There's some videos. I've got some drone work in there. And there's just a nice resource just to kind of go back in time to see how we've been doing. So the agenda we're looking at is we're going to do a short overview about the island and how we got to be here and stuff. Then we'll talk a bit about lifestyle here in Madeira, the cost of living a little bit, and healthcare. And just again to reiterate, Shelly and I are not super knowledge resources. This is just our experience and the stuff that we've noticed as we've been living here. Sure, as we've been staying here, some of the things that's caught our eye. So how we got here to begin with is about 5 years ago, we were planning a trip for Portugal because it's one of those places that everyone retires to. And as we were doing the research, I came across Portugal. We're going to do the Algarve, Lisbon, Porto, and then we're going to take 2 weeks and run over to Spain. And while we were doing the research, I saw this video, and this video made me go, oh my God, we have to go here. So this is from a New Year's Eve fireworks show that was available at the time. And I just looked at how the whole island here, or this part of the island, this is Funchal, is lit up. I mean, there's stuff off to the left that you can't see. It was absolutely amazing drone work. And I said, oh my God, we have to go there. So we ended up checking that out. The problem is when you try and come over here just for the Christmas or New Year's Eve stuff, prices quadruple. Like the flights, the cost of accommodations, because it is a place that everyone wants to come to. And we'll talk a bit more about that. But if you want, in that slide deck, there's a link there to this video. You can watch the video, and I recommend it. Is just such a cool video to look at. There's also another video in here. Come on, move to the next slide about Madeira Island. It goes and shows all different parts of the island. I'm not going to play that one, but you can definitely take a look and see that. So basically, this is where we get started. And we're going to talk about do a quick piece on the overview here. For those of you that just joined, if you have questions, by all means, I've invited you just to come off mute and you can ask your question. Just remember to turn your mute back on again after you ask your question. So let's talk about, am I still sharing? Yes, I am. So let's talk about where it is. So, oops, we're supposed to be in Edmonton here. It was earlier. Give me a sec. So where is Portugal? Well, let's start off with where's Edmonton. So there we go. Look at that great viewpoint. So Edmonton, obviously North America. So Portugal, the country itself, is border with Spain. So there's Portugal, there is Spain. We're on this island here, Madeira. Madeira is about a 2-hour flight, hour and a half flight from the mainland. And one of the neat things about this place is that it's got one of the most challenging airports in the world. The airport itself is right along the water. The winds come in there all the time. You can see articles or Google articles about Madeira Airport, and you'll see the winds and planes coming in at all sorts of wild angles. And the thing is, with the pilots that are coming over here, they actually have to have a special certification. So there was one time the 2 pilots were coming in. The main pilot, he got sick. the secondary backup pilot could not land the plane because he wasn't qualified. They were like 15 minutes away from the island. They had to turn around and go back into the mainland. So it's a really kind of a neat place because it's in the middle of the ocean with all sorts of lovely waves and stuff for you to see.
Can I take myself off mute? And just so you know, Trevor never told me that story before we wanted to go to Portugal. Okay, just now I'm muting again.
Yeah. Yeah, it was best not to. So this is Madeira, and then I'm just going to show you what it looks like. Madeira is actually pretty much made up of 4 volcanoes. And what's really kind of interesting about all of this stuff is that everything is uphill. And I mean, like 105th Street, if you're all familiar with the angle of that, everything is like that. So right from the bottom of the water, you go up and up. We actually went up to this section here. It took us an hour and a bit, and it was all uphill. It was just amazing. The tour guides, when I talked to them, they say they replace the brakes on their vehicles every 3 months. That's how much braking and uphill and work and stuff they do as a safety precaution. They have to keep doing that. So it's amazing. I mean, it's beautiful, but lots of work to do. So that's Madeira. We're in the city of Funchal. So Funchal is on the southern side of it. Of the population of Madeira is about 260,000, I just read today. Probably half that is right here in the city of Funchal, which is what you see right here. There's lots of other, whoops, I'll zoom out a bit. There's lots of other smaller communities along the side here. Ponta do Sol here is a small village that claims to have the most sun of anywhere on the island there. So a lot of people are set up in there. But Funchal is basically the mainland, and this is where a lot of the cruise ships come in. So you can see here, there's actually a cruise ship, there's a border there, or sorry, a dock there. And this area here gets a lot of traffic. Typically, 1 to 3, one or two ships are in here. Every once in a while, you'll have a day without any. On New Year's Eve, there were 7 cruise ships in here. So when you think about 2,000 to 3,000 people per cruise ship, that's 14,000 people. That's almost 10% of the population of Madeira, or sorry, of Funchal. And then lastly is this area here. This is the area that we are staying in right now, and the area that we go up and down a lot and do visits of. Any questions so far? Anyone? Cool. I'll just keep going. Someone asked about the weather. This is what the averages are supposed to be. So July and August, it'll get up to 26, 27. Normally, around 20, 22, 23. Shelly and I are not heat people. And there aren't any beaches around here. There's one beach on the north side. It's a black sand beach. But if you're here looking for sandy beaches, this is not the place. However, having said that, there are a lot of pools that have been created within the lava rocks that remain. So it's kind of cool on a very windy and wavy day. You'll see these pools, and the water comes out of the ocean, spills into the pool, and refills the pool. So it's a lot of pools and stuff. There's a lot of access to swim directly into the ocean and stuff, but that's not what we do.
Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah, it's going to happen. So I'm just going to show you a couple of quick photos just to give you an idea. At the top of the highest mountain there, you actually are above the clouds. We went on this tour and it was sunny down below. We got up and all of a sudden it was cloudy and foggy, and we were thinking, oh, this is going to be crappy to look at. And then you get to the top and you are literally above the clouds. It's a very, very cool experience. This is a highlight point or a lookout point just over the hill for where we're at now. But you can see this is, from the lookout, this is a bunch of, or a big chunk of Funchal. So you can see all the different parts of the city. This is down where you can see the cruise ships are. And you'll notice how all the houses go up here into the hills and stuff. They say that the housing here stops at about 700 meters above the ocean because the clouds come over the top here. A lot of this time, this area here is in cloud. During the summer, it's great. It's cooler than everywhere else, but it gets very cloudy, moist, a lot of humidity and stuff like that. There is a football stadium here, and by football, I'm talking European football stadium in there, and quite often the games are canceled on account of fog. How cool is that? This is another part of the island. Again, Funchal proper is way over here. Actually, right there is where we are staying. But this is all part of this walkway that they have along the water. And you can just see that there's all these different houses and stuff that are up there. Right into this place here is a little fishing village. And there's this beautiful walkway and stuff that, you know, come along here. These were taken with my drone that my lovely wife gave me as a retirement gift. So, hey, everyone should retire. Get a drone. That's just more pictures of that. And then this is that area I told you we go visit all the time. So this is where the waves are. You can see, hang on a sec, I gotta go the other way. So this area here is where the locals come in and we'll go swimming off of the edge here. This is our favorite coffee shop. We just sit there and just the waves come crashing in here and it's just lovely.
It's a bar too.
Oh yeah, it's a bar. Yeah. So it has all the important stuff in there. And lastly, this is the night view from down at the docks by where the cruise line comes in. And it's just gorgeous when you see the mountains just lit up with all these lights and stuff. It's just stunning, to say the least. Okay, that's that. I'm going to go and just turn off the screen sharing because that's all I've got for that. And then we're just going to kind of talk about stuff that we're on our agenda. So the Madeira is basically the top European island destination for the last 8 years. So it's Europe's answer to Hawaii. And you get lots of people coming here during July and August for the summer holidays, as well as during Christmas and New Year's. We got here December 15th. By about December 20th, you could just see the wave of people coming in. Surprisingly, when you talk about visitors and expats and stuff, the Portuguese are doing a lot of visiting here. The British come here and the Germans are coming here. And the cool thing about Madeira is because of its location, you're basically 2 to 4 hours away from everything. So it's about 2 hours to Berlin. It's 4 hours to Madrid with one stopover in Spain. You can get to London in 3.5 hours. And of course, once you get here, you get those cheap flights, right? So I was looking at it for Madrid. In February, we could go one way for 60 euros, which is about 120. So for 240 bucks, we can be in Madrid in 4 hours. Like, I mean, where else can you do that, right? I mentioned the weather was fairly cool here. We sleep with the windows open all the time. It's just gorgeous having the fresh air in there. At this time of year, we haven't seen any mosquitoes. The birds, as soon as it gets night out, the birds die down. A lot of pigeons. They're your friendly friends. Yeah, I mean, other than that, you just leave the windows open. Nothing flies in, and it's just gorgeous and stunning. Currency here is a euro. So the euro is about we usually use about 1.5 times the Canadian dollar. So every time that we are spending $100, it's 150 Canadian. Would you?
We're 166 today.
Okay, so yeah. One of us is keeping a close eye on the euro. One of us just spends the stuff. The island of Madeira is major export is bananas. They have banana trees all over the place. If it was daylight, I could show you there's like a banana grove right outside our window here. So whether it's a small area that's in someone's backyard that they have bananas, or there's a couple of fields of bananas, like the whole valley is done up in bananas, it's gorgeous. And part of the reason the bananas are used a lot in the food here. So when we were at the fishing village, you could get a lot of fish meals that come with banana as part of the meal. The bananas are also used as an export into the mainland. The other things that we have here, of course, is Madeiran wine. Shirley's sampling here. It's a little candy looking as opposed to red wine.
And just so you know, it's 7:20 p.m. here. It's not like lunchtime.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's okay for her to be drinking. So Madeiran wine is an export. There's a lot of sugar cane grown on the island, mostly more so on the north side than this side. And that sugar cane is used to make Madeiran rum, for the island, as well as a drink called poncha. And poncha is usually, there's like 4 or 5 different variations, but the traditional is orange juice and honey and sugar cane and stuff like that. And they actually have this little stick, it's called a poncha stick, and they sit there, and it's their own version of doing a mixer. So it's you can get that all over the place.
It's very good.
Madeira's big claim to fame over the last couple of years is the digital nomads. They were very big when COVID kicked off that they said, hey, come on down here. And the beauty of it is that because it's so warm here, you're outside all the time. So if you remember 2 years ago at this time, you couldn't be 10 feet away from anyone if you wanted to because it was minus 30 and no one wanted to be outside. We've talked to people that were stuck here,
Marooned.
marooned here in Madeira during COVID because they're all locked down. Well, like they said, I mean, everyone is so kind here. They're very giving people, and you know, they're outside, they're warm. So that's some of the reasons why we've kind of looked at coming here. But the digital nomads is very big here right now. So a lot of young people and older people who've got jobs that they can do anywhere are working off of Madeira. And interestingly, you know, before COVID broke out and while I was still at McEwen, we were looking at coming here during this time anyways. And the thought was, can I actually work and do my job from here? But didn't get a chance. It was better to retire. That's a better way to do it. So that's my overview. Anyone got any questions you want to ask about any of that so far? Hey, Scott. Okay, let's talk about the lifestyle here then. It's a safe place. It really is. I know I've read a couple of articles where they've talked about there are some undesirables coming in, like there's some drug.
That might be us.
There's some people, some drug use here, but they're already cracking down on that. They don't want that. The people are so friendly here. We have this thing when we go out to eat, and you know, the waiter come in and say, you know, are you done? And we'll go, well, there was only 2 empanadas there. There were supposed to be 10. Where's the rest of our meal? And we say it as a joke. Here they take that serious. Like our waiter yesterday, we made this joke, and he's already walking down, going to go talk to the kitchen. Like, what the hell's going on? And I had to go, Marco, come back here. No, dude, we're just kidding. So they take the customer service and all that kind of stuff very, very serious. And what's really kind of interesting is that when, you know, I mean, anything doing with the people in here is a priority. When you go to a crosswalk, they will pretty much slam their brakes and lock them up to let you go across. You've got the right of way. Don't cross anywhere else, but if you're at a pedway or something like that, they will lock the brakes up, even if you stand back a bit and wave them on. No, that's not what they do here. I mentioned everything is uphill, and I mean everything. And the worst part is when you go and look on Google Maps, and Google Maps says, oh yeah, it'll just take you a 10-minute walk over there. Well, if it was flat, that would be fine. But if you're walking up 105th Street Hill, as we mentioned in Edmonton, at an angle like this, that 10 minutes is 25 or 20. I can do it in 10 minutes now, but it's taken like 2 months of really pushing that kind of stuff. Transportation here, we haven't bothered renting a car. You can get around in the city here really easy. They have a hop-on, hop-off bus. Oh, that was someone else. A hop-on, hop-off bus that you can do. But you know what? We've been just taking local transit. Google Maps works really well there. You can get to all sorts of different places, and it's kind of cool driving around, especially when you see the hills that you kind of avoided.
And we've come across the bazaar store that we wanted to see. We've come across Homa, which is kind of like an IKEA store. We came across something else that we were looking for, like a mech or a sport check.
Decathlon.
So when you see that stuff on the map, it's cool. But when you come across it on the bus, we hop off the bus. So we can go shopping.
So, because that's a good point. I mean, with the stuff here, you can't just go out and buy something that you think you want. Like, oh, I need a new cable for such and such. It's not like it's on every corner like it is at home. There's a lot of stuff that you can't find here that you have at home. So Jersey milk, Diet Coke. They have Coke and Coke Zero. Yuck. You can't get a root beer or a Dr. Pepper. I did see.
You
great-
can get
you
Madeira
you
wine.
can get wine. Yeah, you can get wine at the stores here and anywhere you want. And interestingly, you don't see it a lot, but people actually take their wine and go out to the park and have a glass there and stuff. So it's it seems to be fairly open about that. We use once in a while we'll take what's called a Bolt, which is basically Uber, their version of Uber here, and it's fairly inexpensive. So I mean, there's lots of things that you can do here in the city. Getting outside to the smaller villages, there are some buses. Quite often, you'll just have to rent a taxi or something and head out there. Anything you want to add while I'm talking?
No, just we've done a couple of bus tours. We've met a couple of people through some expat groups, and they suggested a couple of tours. So we did 2 days and a half day, and it was like 60 euros. So maybe 85 Canadian for 2.5 days of tours. We didn't have to do them all at once, but it was just kind of nice. So Trevor didn't have to drive. He could participate in and enjoying it.
Yeah, because sometimes you're driving those cliffs, you don't want to be driving.
Bad cliffs.
Scott, go ahead. What's your question?
A quick question.
No, you have to unmute yourself. You were so clever showing us that you could use the raise hand.
I am unmuted.
Nope, not working. You want to throw your question in the chat?
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
User error.
I'm tech savvy, aren't I? How's this? Does it
No,
work?
we still can't hear you, dude.
And I'm gonna go
Okay.
put it.
Oh, sorry, it was me. How the hell did that happen? Okay, try again.
Really? Are you
okay, go ahead, Scott.
okay, Shelly? A. How do you put up with them? B. Wine.
I'll
I get it.
tell ya.
I saw the wine. All right,
Cheers.
I get that. Other than going for drinking wine, which would entertain the living daylights out of me for many, many days, have you tasted any of the nightlife as far as the music or any of the plays or culture, that type of stuff that you would, often see in European things? Is it all Portuguese? The music you hear.
Oh, you know what? It kind of depends. Like, I'm on a bunch of nomad groups, and these guys, they sit there and they, what's the word I want? There's a lot of techno pop and stuff like that, right?
European, yeah.
Yeah, so you can do that. There's a lot of stuff geared to old farts like us, so it's in the afternoon or early evenings and stuff. So on the weekend, I went to a ragtime session. On Friday, I'm hoping that Shelley and I will be going to a pop rock session and that. So they do have a lot of music. I haven't seen a lot of Madeiran stuff. We did when we first got here at Christmas time.
Fado is really popular in Porto. So we might, when we go back, we might participate in that. It doesn't start till like 9 o'clock at night. I'm sorry, but that's just a long day when you're going all day.
Oh, I get that. You could sleep in, but nah, it's too nice in mornings. I get that for you
Yeah.
retirement.
Yeah. No, we're busy eating at every restaurant that's been recommended to us. It's a full-time job.
Okay, we're at the 30-minute mark, so I just want to make sure we keep going. So did you have another question there, bud? So in case you guys wanted to know, that's my younger brother, Scott. Any other questions while I'm stopping here? Okay, Susan, just take yourself off mute.
Yeah. Compared to us.
Gotcha.
The cow.
I might have missed this, but how did you get there?
Oh, the actual, so we went with KLM because we prefer a nicer ride, so to speak. So it was Edmonton to Toronto, Toronto to Amsterdam, Amsterdam to Porto, Porto to Madeira. Now, the thing is though, Porto is one of my other favorite cities. So we wanted to make sure we spent 2 weeks there before we came here. Porto's a gorgeous, gorgeous, beautiful city. But we know that you can fly from Toronto to Funchal directly. Well, kind of directly. It comes through, there's a set of islands just north of here, the Azores. So you can go Toronto, Azores, Funchal. So that one takes about 7 or 8 hours with either Transat.
From
Yeah.
Toronto. That's
Yeah.
pretty good. And have you been to the Azores?
Not yet. Not yet.
We're having friends that are hopefully coming out in February, and their tentative itinerary is through the Azores. But we also found out from friends of ours that you can go to New York. This is for Scott specifically, go to New York and fly directly to Funchal.
Yeah, I saw that the direct flight. There's also one actually out of Montreal, but it's much more expensive.
Yes, yeah.
It's not cheap. That's why you need to come for at least like 3 weeks or 4 weeks.
That was an invitation, everybody.
Go ahead, we're in a 1-bedroom closet.
Okay, one more question, Susan, and then I think
Yeah,
someone else.
yeah, well, we're actually in Palm Desert right now, but we're living in Toronto, kind of thinking about next year, and Portugal is on the radar. How is Porto weather-wise right now?
Porto, their winter, it rains a lot. And in fact, about 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, they had some major flooding. I don't know what's happened after that, but I would, I mean, it's colder, right? It's the mainland. We're more on southern, we have a bit more of an island feel here, so.
Okay.
Take rain gear. Like I always
Yeah.
think Trevor's a little bit too over prepared, but we had rain gear, we had a raincoat. We went out in the rain. It did not prevent us from enjoying anything. It is still a beautiful city. And it rained a lot when we were there and we still loved it.
If you're
Really?
not shoveling it, then you're not shoveling snow, then it doesn't matter what the temperature is.
It's
Expect the
similar to
worst.
Toronto, we get rain.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Susan. Judy, I see you've got a question.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. I can't turn my camera on. I don't know why, but
That's
anyways,
okay.
I wanted to know how did you rent a place for a couple months, and what's the approximate cost, if you don't mind?
Yeah. So when we came, can I take this?
Yeah, of course.
I'm off mute, so I get to talk now.
Okay.
When we came 4 years ago, we found this place on TripAdvisor, actually, and I stayed in touch with who I thought was the owner, but she's actually a manager for it. And then when we were going to come back 2 years ago before COVID, we had booked this place. We were going to bring my mother-in-law and come and stay for 3 or 4 weeks. And we had to cancel all of that because of COVID. And then when we were deciding to come this time, again, I'm friends with her on Facebook. So I just reached out and said, we're hoping to come. And thankfully for us, they were looking at more long-term renters. And I'm like, well, what do you consider long-term? Because we only wanted to be here 3 months. That's all we could be here. And yeah, they were available and we're in the same condo we were at the first time.
And it's gorgeous. Love it. I mean, the views are amazing.
Beautiful.
Blah, blah, blah.
Oh, and the cost. So 1,600 Canadian-ish a month. Or sorry, 1,600 euro a month for a 1-bedroom, 1
Furnished.
bath, furnished.
Booking.com seems to be a big thing here for
Okay.
finding places.
Okay. My other question, if you were bringing your mother, then maybe then it's not so bad walking wise. I just ask because I do have some limitations physically. I noticed the last time we went to San Francisco, even the hills were really hard for me.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, we've seen people out with walkers and stuff. You can certainly get accommodation down on the main level and stay sort of on the main level. But I mean, it's Europe. It's kind of like being in Greece, like you're going up hills.
Yeah.
And when you're going on a tour, like we actually parked on some hill and I had to take a picture of a guy because he looked like this. Because we were so, we were so up high. I'm not used to it. I'm from the prairies.
Yeah.
We're flat.
Having said all that, I mean, like Shelly said, there's a road here that's once you're on it, you're pretty much on the mainland. You can use cabs to get around and boats and stuff like that. I mean, there's lots of seniors that come in off the cruise ships, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and there's there's a huge older expat system here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I just, thanks
Thank
Karen,
you.
or thanks Judy. I gotta kind of move along just because
Yeah.
we only have so much time. Thank you. And I mean,
Thank you.
guys, afterwards, if you want to hang around, I'm more than happy to sit around and chat. Karen, I noticed you're off mute. Did you have a question? Karen Hall? Okay, I'm just gonna mute you then. All right, so last we talked, where are we at here? So some of the things that we noticed, restaurants, they still smoke here. Oh God, it's disgusting. But hey, whatever.
They're changing.
They're changing. Yeah, supposedly there's new laws coming into effect to stop that, at least inside. No rush. When you go into a restaurant, again, they're also suffering from limited number of people, but they also just, you go out for a meal, take your time. If you think you're gonna go out and just do a quick bite to eat and then run off to a movie, yeah, get ready for disappointment. You know, you have to wait for the staff to recognize you before they come over. So it might be 20 minutes before you get to put a drink order in, let alone everything else. The secret is once you get them, give them the drink order, give them your food order, and then when they come and deliver the food, ask for your bill. But otherwise, you're just here to take your time. So it's a huge ethnic melting pot of restaurants in, you know, East Indian and Italian, Ukrainian, I mean, everything. Chinese, French. We have a steakhouse, a Brazilian steakhouse at the bottom of our apartment. And every night we have to smell the wood smoke coming up here. And it's it just, I mean, I have a smoker at home and I haven't had smoked food in so long, but every morning or every night it's like, okay, and then I'm hungry. I mentioned cruise ships. There's lots of different tours here. I mean, you can do scuba diving tours. There's dolphins, whale watching, fishing, and they have levadas. So a levada is kind of like the way the water was drained from the hilltops down to the other parts of the island. So they're basically like a little channel about that wide and maybe that deep from the mountains. And they were built hundreds of years ago. Some of them are still functioning, bringing the water down the mountain. And there's trails that go alongside them, and those are levadas. Some of the trails are real nice and easy and are short. So we went on one that was fairly flat in about 45 minutes. Some of them will take you all day, and it's only a one way. You get a car to pick you up at the end, and it's very treacherous in times. But beautiful, beautiful scenery when you can do that. The restaurants, a lot of them typically are closed between 4 and 6, or some of them just don't even open until 7 o'clock. It's always a good meal and it's beautiful. The presentation is stunning half the time that you get this stuff. Locals use WhatsApp. So if you're not familiar, it's kind of like Messenger. Everyone can make use of it, but you know, it kind of replaces the phone here. They use the WhatsApp system. Let me see what else we got here. Oh, Mark, as far as the photos and that, you can watch the video when I'm done. I'll send a link out to everyone so you can just scan through the pictures again. You want to take this one? This is yours. Cost
Oh,
of living.
because it says groceries and household.
No, cost of living. You're the financial person.
I get all this sexy stuff. So we have bought groceries, and well, one of the things, whoever asked me about the accommodation, we needed to have a washing machine. Dryers are not commonplace here, so a lot of people are hanging their laundry out. So, and the washing machine is really quite small. Imagine when you first moved into your apartment, you had the little washing machine. So I can maybe do 3 days of clothes for both of us and maybe throw in a couple of towels in that. So you do laundry every 2 to 3 days for sure. And groceries are available. It takes you a little while because you need Google Translate. Anything that you want to buy that is North American or something like that, like Coke or teriyaki sauce that we actually like, you pay a premium because we're on an island. So you need to expect to pay for it to come here. So we're trying to try local stuff instead of our soy sauce. You know, we try peri peri and just try and experiment with the local stuff. A lot of fish. So we have no central heating. We have no central air. So we have a window. And so when it's cold, Trevor actually wanted, he's not a big tea or coffee drinker, so we went and got him hot chocolate. Turns out I'm drinking a lot more hot chocolate than he is, because it is chilly. It's humid and it gets a little chilly. It's not as bad as other places, like maybe down east or New Zealand, but we have a space heater we can plug in, but I am trying not to plug it in because I'm not at home in -35. Like, it's a principle thing. I'm trying to live how folks here live. So we're learning, and it's been unusually cold here this winter, according to the locals and a lot of friends that we've met. So, and that's okay. Like I said, we have layers. We're prepared for it. And so we went out to a movie yesterday afternoon because it was cloudy and overcast and expected rain. And by the time we got over to the movie theater, the sun was out. So we went upstairs and stood in the sun and looked at each other and said, no, no movie today. So we headed down to the water and we watched the water and had coffee down at the beach there. So you just have to be flexible. I think in Edmonton, we used to say, if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes. Same thing here. Like, when you're packing your knapsack, you take rain gear, a scarf, another layer, like layers of these things, and then a fleece, and you go, because you don't know what you're going to get, especially if you're going up in the mountains.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I did some checking on utilities here. So get this. So I looked into what it would cost for internet and stuff like that. So when you go in here, you get a whole package. So the package includes a phone line. It includes a cable package. It includes internet, 200 gigs or 200 megs up, for those of you that are techie. And what else? Cable, phone, plugged in phone, and a mobile phone with unlimited calling and texting anywhere in Europe. It's all free because it's part of the EU, so everything has to transfer. All that plus 5 gigs of data. That whole thing will cost you 48 euros. That's about $65 Canadian. I mean, I don't know anyone that's paying that, not paying at least that much on a cell phone plan, let alone everything else included. So it's pretty impressive. That's pretty much it for our cost of living chat. Any other questions on that before we move to healthcare? Okay, and I'm aware we have like 15 minutes left, so we'll just kind of buzz that and then we'll just leave it open for questions again. So healthcare, there's public and private hospitals here. Once you become a Madeiran resident, then you have access to the public healthcare. According to some of the locals we've talked to, it's the only thing wrong with it is that if during the day you need to go to the hospital, it might take you a few hours to see someone. Does that sound familiar? But I mean, they look after you really, really well here. There are private hospitals as well, but one of the locals said, you can pay for that private hospital, but if it comes to a lot of major surgeries and stuff, you're still going to go back to the public healthcare. The private hospitals are just, you don't want to wait. I want to go in and see if the arm I broke, it's actually broken. That's what you would use that for. But anything like major surgeries, hip replacements, whatever else, you're still going to go to the public hospital. Medical and dental. Of course, we're like a lot of people, we're on ARDA and their travel plans, so we're covered here for 120 days, so we maxed out on whatever we could get here. There are local companies, so one is called MGen. It's a Portuguese healthcare provider, so you can get on with them. I think MGen, one of the nice things about it is they don't look at your age, I think it was. Yeah. So you can get some plans there. But of course, when you're doing that, it's only covered here in Portugal. When with our ARDA stuff, we decided not to bother with dental plan. And of course, last week I was chewing cereal and I broke a tooth. So I had to go down and go to the dentist. So you want to tell the story? Because you like this one.
Yeah, I do, because it wasn't me. So it was Friday the 13th. It was fabulous. So I thought we can go check out the dental. So we went down to the office, just down. Trevor sourced, through Google Maps and got some feedback and reviews. So we went down to the office and it was about 20 to 11. And the lady said, well, yeah, we can see you. It'll be 120 euro for the exam, which is the x-rays and an assessment. And then we'll let you know what the treatment plan looks like. And she said, can you come back at 11 o'clock? And we said, well, it's 22:11 now. So, oh, she said, here, yeah, you're right. Here's the forms. So we filled out all the forms. The dentist came in at about 11:05 and took Trevor. And then I waited for a while and then they came back and he said it was a great experience. Apparently he doesn't get a lot of dental work. Like I'm at my dentist a lot. So they took, you know, you put your head in the
X-rays.
thing and they took the x-rays. It was really high tech. And the dentist came in and said, you know, I need to take out the rest of the filling. I can refill it. And with the numbing, it'll be 100 euros. So of course I got called in because I'm the money manager and I said, sure, you can do that. He's worth 100 euros. So then I went back out. It's an hour and a half later and I'm starting to think maybe I can't afford to take Trevor home with me because this has been like an hour and a half. I might have to leave him there. Anyway, they came out and he was all fixed and frozen and it was 100 euros. So the x-ray and the assessment got included because we actually got the work done. Meanwhile, in my head, I'm thinking, okay, 250 or 220 euros, so under 300 bucks, we can, you know, that's what we would pay at home for a chipped tooth. Anyway, it was 100 euros. So even on the worst day, like today, the exchange sucks, it was 166. So that would be $166 for x-rays. And they did x-rays after too, to make sure that it was done. So that was our experience with the healthcare. And then they said, if you have any issues, come back. So I'm kind of toying with the idea of going to get my teeth cleaned. I tried to talk Trevor into it because I want to see what it's like, what the process is like. But I'm not sure I'm willing to try that. Yeah, I know.
Anyways, but yeah, I mean, it was a modern experience. I mean, I had a private office that they took me into to do all the work on it. It was really well done. I mean, and normally, you know, I sit there and I kind of clench up because I'm waiting for that shot of pain to hit me. But they did such a good job. I was actually probably the first time I've actually relaxed in a dental office in years. So it was kind of interesting. The other cool thing about this, about the healthcare here is the doctors, to get it, and to be a doctor, the marks have to be high. They have very high standards. And Madeira is building a university campus right now, specifically for training doctors and stuff. So not only are we going to have access to the doctors locally on the island, you're going to have a lot of students that are coming in, going through the program, and like, why wouldn't you set up in this beautiful island while you're here? So it's kind of interesting to take a look at that. Anyways, that's
Can I take a second to promote? I'm just going to promote just for 2 seconds. If you are traveling and you're not covered by your group plan, there's a company called To Go, and if you don't travel through the United States, you get a discount to get there, and you can buy, like, you know, your 2 weeks, your 6, your 3 months, whatever you would, and they cover pretty well everybody. You just got to ask the medical questions, and I'm throwing a link in the chat if anybody wants to. It's just a place where you can go get a quote, because the price is actually quite different from compared to United States and not United States.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, MGen was the same way. You get a nice cheap flight, but I mean, a couple of different data plans I've looked at. If you know, anytime that you go to the States, it's like, nope, you're going to be paying through the nose, that much extra. Susan,
Thanks,
did you ever?
Scott.
Thanks, Scott. Susan, did you have a question? Well, you're muted, but I'm going to take the no as an answer. That's it for the presentation and stuff. So it's Q&A time now. We have 10 minutes. Anyone got any other questions you want to chat about?
so you having fun?
Oh, yeah.
It's
Or
really hard.
It's hard not to.
Have you lost track of the days of the week yet?
Oh, God, yes.
Well,
That
that
happened before we left home.
That's the best part of being retired.
I always thought my sister was crazy, but no, she was just retired.
So I just want to, Scott, we can chat here for a little bit more. I just want to make sure, is there any other questions and stuff? Because if not, I'll just stop the recording and then we can all just have a free for all. Nope. Okay. So thanks for joining. I will send the recording link out to the group there and probably post it on Facebook if that's okay, Margot. All right.
Thank
So
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.